action.
Hello everybody, Papa Sprout, and this is
Little Sprout
on Little Acres Homestead. What are we planting today, Little Sprout?
Blueberries.
Blueberries.
Yep.
Alright, so we got to do a little bit of doctoring of our soil, I think. We got to test it first. Blueberries like really acidic soil, and that ranges anywhere from 4.5 to 5.5 on the pH scale. So we got a soil testing kit that tests pH, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. But I happen to know this soil is pretty neutral in the other three, but we're going to check the pH today.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right, buddy. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, just so you can get an idea. There's 4 lines on the tube. I kind of pointed at them, each one. What we do to test our soil, you go in about 2 to 3 inches into the soil that we're going to use, and we fill this tube.
Don't have Bear right next to us, honey, because he's going to knock over the tripod. Go play with the stick out in the yard. Bear, quit.
Fill it, I'll put too much in there. Fill the tube up to the bottom line with some soil that we're going to be using. Right to the bottom line. And then we get one of the, in this specific pack, I don't know what the other packs use. I've actually never worried about the pH in the soil, but in this pack, get the green tablet or capsule, I should say. Dump the whole thing in there. Maybe I'll dump the whole thing in there. Alright. Then, with the handy dandy dropper, distilled water up to the 4th line. And put the green cap back on and give it a good shake. I'm going to step off camera for a second, grab my chart. And I'm back. Doesn't look very pretty or any real color as yet. There's all the colors that we have to be looking for. So it's looking. Alright everybody, we've sat for our little over a minute. Just wanted to show you where we're looking at right now. We're just slightly acidic at about 6.5 on the pH scale, and we want to get clear down here to an almost red. Not quite red, but almost red. So what I went ahead and did is bought some azalea food from the store, because azaleas like acidic acid as well.
And rhododendrons and camellias are actually in the same family as blueberries, so they grow similarly, they like the same food. So if you can't find a specific blueberry food or fertilizer, look for something that says rhododendron or camellias.
Pause this for a second there, baby. Alright, so I'm taking the azalea, rhododendron, I can't even pronounce that right, rhododendron and camellia food. I put a 1/4 cup of it in there, and I'm going to mix it in. I don't know if that'll work out to exactly the pH we need to do, so we'll retest here in a few minutes. What I based that measurement on was the recommendations on the bag, and the fact that we were so not acidic. So I'm going to get rid of this right over here in Wasteland. Give it a little quick rinse out, and we're going to test again. And the test here is an exact repeat of the last test. Dirt to the 1st line, then the capsule, water to the 4th line, and let it set for a minute. I will say there's probably some math out there that somebody knows a formula of how to figure how much to put in per, you know, X amount of soil or whatever. I don't know the formula. So this
But
is.
we're also going to be sprinkling the food along after we transplant the plant in. We're going to be sprinkling the food around the outskirt of the pot so that it can slowly come in and feed the plant. We're just adding a little bit to the soil to begin with to make it a little bit more acidic. So on blueberries, you don't want to, even though they love acid, you don't want to do too much fertilizer. They're pretty hardy plants, especially high bush. We live up north, so high bush is what grows best here. They're fairly hardy plants, but you do need to, if your soil is not acidic enough, you need to add some, and then you do need to feed them about every 6 to 12 weeks, depending on the brand of food you get. We're just initially adding some to help start the process rolling a little bit more.
Well, that first color, when it first popped in there, I don't know if you guys got to see it, but I was really excited. But I will say that at this point in time, it doesn't look like it made much of a change. But again, we're going to let it sit and settle out for the instructions, and we'll bring you back in a minute. Alright, we have been a minute. I don't know if you'll be able to tell how much of a change. It hasn't made a full half, or 0.5 on the pH scale, but it's close. So what we're going to do is we're going to add one more quarter cup. That'll get us close down to the upper end of the range that the blueberries like. And we also note that this has not really, the food has not really been able to break down any, so we would rather err on the side of making it not too acidic, and therefore letting the next set of food that we're going to put in bring it down into range. That meaning the set of food that's going to go on the top after we plant. So we're going to put in, like I said, one more quarter cup. That's what we're going to do. If there's somebody out there that knows more about blueberries than us, feel free to make a comment down below and let us know more, less, whatever you suggest and why. Because that's what this is about for everybody's learning channel, and we kind of feel that the worst thing that can happen to us here is we could lose our blueberries, and then you guys would know too that this doesn't work. So I'm going to put you on pause again for a second. I'm going to get the blueberries out and we'll get them planted. Alright everybody, welcome back. We went ahead and got all our pots down to the pH we want, the soil in the pots that is. Now this pot right here that I'm messing with, there's something a little different about this one. I don't know what it is, but there are just ants galore in it. So some people probably tell me I'm wrong for doing it, but I put some diatomaceous earth in it. I think I pronounced that right. And just mixed it in, and now I'm just planting the blueberries. So what I'm doing is digging down right in the center of the pot, or as close as I can without measuring. And I'm leaving, I don't know, about 2 inches of soil underneath it. And then I'm going to go ahead and, you can see that the root ball is a little above the soil we got in there. So, if you watch a couple of the upcoming videos, you'll see where I got this from. Lovely composted cow manure. I'm just kidding, I didn't really get it from the place you're going to see in the next videos. I went to Lowe's and bought this. But it really is just composted cow manure. But that runs a little bit acidic, so we're not even going to worry about trying to adjust it before we put it in here. Again, considering we're putting the other acidic fertilizer a little more on the top. This one here seems to be taking a lot more than I expected, and that's alright.
Well, you put it up higher than the one I planted.
Well, that makes sense. Wanted to mention too that all the soil that was in here already is actually compost that we had made since we started around This batch of compost we started around Christmas time of
And baby,
2017.
center that plant out because it's way to the side. There you go.
And then we'll just do the same thing for the next one. This one here is going to take a fair bit of cow manure too, because this one's not quite as full as that one. So these are shallow. Did we talk about this earlier? Shallow, the fact that they're shallow rooting plants.
I mentioned it, but I think I mentioned it.
So they're shallow rooting. That's why I feel comfortable putting them in pots. Not like they need to dig down 4 or 5 feet like some plants, dandelions, asparagus.
Now, blueberries, especially high bush blueberries, are very good for container gardening. So, you know, it's very common in the homesteading community to hear plant where you are. So a lot of times you don't have garden space. You may not have a yard at all, or maybe the yard you have is just too small, or maybe you live in an apartment and they won't let you put a bush or something. But blueberries are fantastic for container gardening. They are shallow rooted, so they don't need to grow down real deep. They are very hardy. They do need a lot of sunlight. So if you have a back patio, or if you have right by your front door, or if you have any space where you get a good 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight, you can grow blueberries.
So we're gonna leave the tags on these because we actually have 3 different types of blueberries. It's another thing about blueberries is they're a plant that needs 2 different varieties fairly near to each other for pollination purposes. So we got
But not too close. You want them 4 to 5 feet apart.
Right, but fairly close. So we got 3 different kinds. This one up here is Northland blueberry. This one is Patriot blueberry, and the third kind we got is Jersey blueberry. And we're gonna see which ones we like the best as they go. So like I said earlier, we're going to put a little more of that fertilizer right on top. I'm not putting quite another 1/4 cup in each one. If you want to get real technical, I would say the closest measurement is probably 3 tablespoons. That's, again, what we're doing based on the soil acidity that we had and we're trying to aim for. And I don't know if this is going to be the perfect storm to make the perfect soil or not. This is our first year doing this, so with blueberries. I mean, we've planted before, of course, but you know, the acidic soil is not something we're used to having to have. Not this acidic, I should say.
Well, we did try and do blueberries last year, and we didn't do enough research. We didn't know how acidic they liked it. We knew they liked it acidic. We thought we had it acidic, but we skimped. We didn't buy the soil pH test kit, and we didn't buy the rhododendron food. We just put them in the pots. We thought our soil was acidic enough because the soil we had gotten had a higher nitrogen count in it, so we thought we were good there, and they died. So
well, it's not only the fact that I kind of forgot we'd done those, and now that you mentioned that, and what we got for blueberry plants they were really dead when we got them. I think that also played a role in it. These ones just look unbelievably more vibrant already. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put some water on them. The soil's already a little bit wet in there because these pots have been sitting out on the back patio and we've had rain for days. But the cow manure on top, and just the fact that we just transplanted them, I want to go ahead and get them real good and wet. So we'll bring you back in a minute. Alright y'all, like I said, we're just putting a little water on here, but because these are already wet from the rain and the fact that blueberries aren't they're not a plant that really likes being super wet.
they need really good drainage, so if you do container garden them, make sure you have a well-draining pot, and they like soil that has a lot of organic matter in it, so it's real loamy. It's got some air trapped in it so that it drains really well.
Few earthworms in each one of these pots wouldn't come amiss either.
Right.
Like I said, maybe a half gallon of water between 3. It wasn't even quite that much, but here in a few minutes I'm going to start doing some transplants into some bigger pots of some of our other stuff. We'll bring you back for that. So part of what else we've got going on today is the neighborhood dog yipping at us. More importantly, we're transplanting some of our various plants that are getting bigger than we expected into yet bigger pots. So I had little sprout, throwing a little bit of dirt in the bottom of this one, a little bit of potting soil. Hold on there a minute, little sprout. Oh, it's right here in front of my face. Lemon balm, which in another video you saw us transplant into this pot. Well, it's outgrown that pot. So we're transplanting a little bigger of a pot. Trying to throw some dirt right down there in the side. Good job. Some more. Yeah, that's what we want, a bunch. We gotta fill her up pretty good.
I'm just making more room for more dinosaur bones.
Dinosaur bones?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if we find dinosaur bones in this one, we might be in...
Rich.
Rich is probably not the right word. This is supposed to be organic soil, not organic petrified stuff. Alright, I'd say one more scoop, and that'll be enough in here.
Oh, this is not enough.
Yeah, it's enough in this one. Alright. And as usual, anytime you transplant something, you're going to get a little transplant shock. So make sure you give it some water to let it start getting back to normal as soon as possible. We'll get this back over here on our box table. And we'll be back to transplant the next thing. Now into that pot that we just took, excuse me, that we just took the rosemary out of. That's not the rosemary, that we just took the lemon balm out of. One of these days I'll learn to talk, y'all. Come on back over on this side, bub. We're going to go ahead and transplant some lavender into this pot from a smaller pot. Some of this was we didn't know certain items were going to get as big as they do. And other of it was we wanted to get started and we didn't have money for the extra $2 for each one of these bigger pots. So now that we're ready for them, okay, hold on just a second. Now that we're able to get the bigger pots, we want to go ahead and give the plants the room to grow that they need. Gotta get the dirt out of this one. Alright, go ahead and get you some dirt in there. Go ahead. No, in this one, Bob. Daddy's helping just so we can get done faster because we don't want to waste people's time watching our videos. And we aren't like the professional YouTubers yet. We don't know how to do time lapses. Alright, that's that one filled. As usual, you want to help me water this one?
Yep.
As usual, a little bit of water.
I know how to do them, I'm just not very good at them.
These are blueberries, right?
No, that's lavender. Let me have that and we'll put it back in here.
Hey, Mom. Want
What,
a
honey?
hug?
Of course I want a hug. When have I ever turned down a hug?
Sometimes.
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 Yeah, sometimes you really hate hugs.
No, I never hate hugs.
Sometimes you do.
So-
Like now, you hate hugs.
I don't
These-
hate hugs.
This next one's just, we got 3 different varieties of strawberries. And that's what one of these is. Unfortunately, go ahead Asa, grab your...
Hey, look, babe, we have a berry on it.
Do we? Oh, we do, sure enough. First strawberry of the year, y'all.
It's
Actually,
triplets.
there's 3 of them on here.
It's triplets.
I said the first strawberry of the year, and I know that that's not the first strawberry for anybody in the year. It's the first strawberry on our
I
homestead.
found something.
Not only this year, but ever. And y'all got to be a part of it. Thanks for being here for it.
I found something.
What'd you find in there? Some dirt? That's enough dirt in this one, bub.
I think I found it deep.
A deep. Alright, a little bit of water as usual. Go ahead and just do another one. I won't keep running each one over. Come on, dirt. Dirt, dirt, dirt.
More like poo, poo, poo.
Poop! We haven't done any poops yet on these. That's something else I'm not necessarily going to show you. Man, look at those roots in there, babe. That one's really got
That
a
one
good
was ready to
root
be
system.
transplanted.
Which
That one was like, transplant me
that
before
probably
I
explains a lot of why these
Is it okay
leaves
if
are.
I
We should probably pinch those.
Is it okay if I wipe this outside?
Yeah,
Inside?
baby, just wipe it off on your jeans. That's what jeans are for. And
For
there's
now.
one up at the top. You see the one at the top? Pinch that one. We don't want to leave that on. Sucking up nutrients.
I did find something.
I didn't know. That's part of the reason I wanted to go and
I
get
did
these
find
transplanted
something.
today too, because I didn't know
I did
if our
find
soil
something
that
deep.
was in there was just nutrient depleted,
Mom,
or
guess what I
if it
found
was what it
Something.
turns out to be, and when our stuff's kind of getting root bound because it was in too small of a pot for the plant. Here you go, Ace. So water this one.
And strawberries are another plant that needs good aeration in the soil, good drainage. They love light.
Can you get it? You need any help with
He
that?
needs your help.
Bucket's pretty full. Go. All right.
It looks pretty low to me.
Pinch a few of these ones that are.
I bet we're going to see the same kind of roots when you pull that one.
I saw it in that first strawberry I did. I just didn't think to show you because I'm respectful of the people's time who are watching our videos. Yep.
Am I going to water this one?
So thankfully we did this today, and I didn't wait until I debated on waiting until next weekend to do it, just because our weather's been so crazy.
But Mama Sprout pushed him.
Mama Sprout.
I'll tell you what we're going to do here in a little bit. We're going to make it a different video, but we'll start another video and we're going to start getting our garden in good shape. I said before in a previous video I wasn't going to tell, and I'm not going to tell exactly, but I am going to tear ground up because a lot of this garden area that we're going to be using has not been disturbed since this house was built, so it's pretty dense. It's kind of hard to get in. So I'm going to take a little kind of a hand tiller and chunk up some area, and we'll get the fence put in to keep the dogs out, and we'll put that on another video. But for today, that's what we got. For today, that's what we're going to do for today. I'm just going to be putting a little bit of the same compost that we put on top of blueberries on top of each of the ones I just transplanted today. And just real quick, I'm going to step off for a half second. Okay, maybe it was 3 seconds. This is the little tiller tool I got. So I'm going to till up just a little bit of area, just enough to break the ground and make it easier to plant, and hopefully for our roots to establish. So look for that in the next video, y'all. Thanks for stopping by today. We'd appreciate it if you take the time to subscribe, share, comment, like our video, etc. We appreciate you being here. You got any last minute things to say to everybody?
Yep.
What you guys say?
Bye.
Bye. Just remember, this is the day the Lord has made. Rejoice.